Well, we learned today that former US President Joe Biden has been diagnosed with a quote-unquote aggressive form of prostate cancer that spread to his bones. Donald Trump posted online, "Melania and I are saddened to hear about Joe Biden's recent medical diagnosis. We extend our warmest and best wishes to former First Lady Jill Biden and the family, and we wish Joe a fast and successful recovery." With me now is Sky News contributor Kosha Gada. Kosha, what's been the reaction across America to this news?
Great to be with you, Caleb. Certainly, as you said, it's shockwaves around the country just because of the nature and late stage of the diagnosis, where it's metastasized to his bones. I think, the first reaction is genuine sympathy, bipartisan words of support from Donald Trump, as you just played there, to Kamala Harris and everyone in between, because these kinds of events sadly are relatable to many. People can sympathize with it on a human level, and it has a way, I guess one silver lining is it has a way of bringing a very divided country together, if for a brief moment. The other side of it, of course, is that given who Biden was and is, naturally there is a political element to the story, and that is that this does further tarnish his legacy, for sure. This is going to be one more thing of how he's remembered, that he had this and various health conditions festering when he decided to run, and everything that went down from there. It's raising questions about transparency. Who knew what? When did they know it? And this wasn't kept, or this was kept from the American people, and the implications of that. And there's also a little bit around policy, not so much because of the cancer, but the cognitive decline on various documents that he signed, from executive orders to pardons. Do they have legal legitimacy is a question that people are raising, whether or not anything comes of that. So it's certainly created a bit of a firestorm politically, in addition to the human aspect of it.
Well, you'd have to say it's far from a conspiracy theory to wonder why, if he's been diagnosed with stage 4 prostate cancer now, so it's well advanced, so he absolutely had it towards the end of his presidency. You are the President of the United States, so you would have the best doctors and medical advice and whatever available to you. How did they not pick this up?
Absolutely, and I think that is the elephant in the room. It's very hard to believe that they didn't, because they're constantly being monitored, and obviously he was under the care of many doctors. There were Parkinson's doctors that the White House logs show had been visiting for a while. Obviously he would have been having regular physicals as well. So I think that is an inconvenient reality that is out there, and it is the Democrat Party and the media, who are already suffering from all-time low levels of trust, have certainly taken a big hit tonight as the story continues to unfold.
Yeah, indeed, and it's sad as well, because of all the cancers. To have prostate cancer, if it's found early, is a very easy one to treat these days. Now, Israel seems open to ending the war with Hamas, that is if the terrorist organisation agrees to put down their arms and go into exile. And it's a stark shift from Netanyahu, because he's previously said that Israel will keep fighting until Hamas is completely extinct, but they've lifted the aid ban, so there's food and drink and whatever going into the place now, and they seem to be softening their tone a little.
Seems to be that way, though 24 hours is a lifetime in a war zone, so much more wood to chop still. There's two dynamics happening in real time. So one is the Israelis have intensified their military operation, both with a ground game and airstrikes. Several Hamas leaders reportedly were taken out over the weekend, and coupling that with the blockade of food and water and everything else is just really putting maximum pressure on them. And simultaneously, the diplomatic efforts continue to be underway, though they haven't always been successful. That is continuing, with the U.S. playing a mediation role, and other actors from Europe and elsewhere coming in there and trying to basically negotiate primarily release of the remaining hostages in exchange for a ceasefire. So those two dynamics, it sounds like, at least based on the reports, there's been a bit of a breakthrough where there were certain restrictions that Hamas was not letting up on, which now they are, and they've agreed to these talks in Qatar with no preconditions. And if true, then that looks like hopefully this thing is moving, the needle is moving in the right direction and moving towards some sort of seizing of this conflict, because certainly it's gone on for far longer than anybody wants.
Very quickly, Kosha, the breaking news out of the UK tonight is that the European Union and the UK have agreed to a post-Brexit, what they're calling reset deal, which appears to encompass security and defence. But the major deal, or the major part of it that's being lauded, is a 12-year agreement to allow fishing access for EU boats in UK waters. Many people might be asking, what was the point of Brexit?
The Brexiteers certainly are asking that and are not very happy in general, but the fishing, trade in general, softer border checks, travel, all of that. And then the big thing is the European Court of Justice, the ECJ, apparently has some sort of sphere of influence still on domestic matters. That's the one that's riled up many people on the Brexit side. I think Nigel Farage and the Reform Party are certainly going to use this to their advantage and push that it's sort of a surrender and that the deal should be much different from that, and that's going to have a big play in their political cycle.
And they're already doing well, so I'm sure they won't mind a bit more ammunition. Kosha, thank you so much as always.